Leo Cahill took the Toronto sports scene by storm in the mid-1960s as head coach of the Toronto Argonauts. In 8 years as head coach in Toronto, Cahill's vibrant personality, combined with his constant praise for Canadian football, helped solidify the Toronto Argonauts as one of Canada's most successful sports franchises. He was the head coach in 1972 on the infamous Leon McQuay fumble as the Stampeders won the Grey Cup. Cahill also played a big part in bringing Joe Theismann to play for the Argonauts. After coaching, Cahill became the Argos GM, where he continued to be one of Toronto's most popular sports figures. He was a coach, a general manager, and oh yes, a broadcaster.
You know, I'm no stranger to these surroundings here. I've been here before. But these coaches are a lot like all coaches. They worry about all kinds of things before a key game like this. They're in there right now worrying about how much it's going to hurt them to miss Zach Henderson out there playing that defensive secondary. They're also worrying about how much time they spend on the game, whether they spend enough time offensively and defensively. All kinds of things they worry about at this stage. But while they're worrying, I think that they ought to reflect. And they ought to reflect on the fact that they're a great football team. This football team didn't back into the playoffs or didn't back into the Grey Cup. They're here as a result of a 44-7 win over an Ottawa football team. So regardless what happens out here, they're playing probably one of the best football teams in the history of Canadian football. But it's going to be a great game. Regardless who wins or who loses, it could be a war. Now, I like to think about an old saying that I had before we went to a key game like this. When it gets to this point of the ball game, the hay is in the barn, and from here on in, it's up to God and the top 34 players.
1995 inductee, Leo Cahill.